Welcome back to another episode of Marketing 100, where we're leading you through 100 ways that you can grow your salon business. I'm here with Mack Olsen from Yello Salon in Portland, who's going to share some of the secrets behind what they're doing in order to grow their business. If you haven't checked it out, it's over at yello.salon. They're doing a ton of cool things. Super excited to have you here, Mack.
Thanks, John. I'm excited to be here.
Maybe you want to give a little bit of background on like what Yello is, so that people watching this who haven't heard about Yello just get a bit of flavor for the Yello brand.
I previously worked at a retail brand startup here in Portland that became pretty successful, and that was my background, was in retail. And then once I met Kaylee, who's not here because she's doing hair currently, her background obviously in hair, and when the pandemic hit, was looking for a chair to rent afterwards. And we were looking around for salons. She couldn't find anything. And so we kind of were brainstorming and decided, hey, let's go out on our own and open up our own salon. And so that was kind of how Yello started in 2021. What I wanted to focus on today was just having kind of a brand, a mindset, and being able to go against the rules of what a hair salon can and can't do. When I had a retail background, we could do anything because we're a retail brand. But now as a hair salon, I'm like, feels weird, feels against the rules to go out and do collaborations, pop-up shops, do product, and why not? Like, why can't salons do this?
What would you say like some of these rules are business owners might think they need to kind of stay within?
When I think of like a retail brand, all they are is they're a marketing agency, really.
Yeah.
They don't make their own product. Usually a lot of them don't make their own product. It's like they market their product. A hair salon, at least we're making our own product. We have stylists who are hands-on making it, and you get to be one-on-one with a client for 1 to 3 hours, which big brands would dream of having. Instead, they have to portray their image over a 30-second commercial where you get that one-on-one time with a client. And that's really valuable. Thinking about the do's and do not, it was like, well, we're a hair salon. Like, you never hear about a hair salon going out and doing a pop-up shop, or you never think of like a collab with another brand being a hair salon. And so we wanted to just kind of push the boundaries a little bit.
I think a lot of like retail brands like really fighting for attention out there, right? And trying to get people to like watch their ad or like get 5 seconds of attention.
Especially for a hair salon, you serve like the ultimate product. It's a service that like literally transformed that person to make them feel so much better about themselves. And that's a huge impact. Yeah, you might not be able to reach as many people, but the people you reach is much more meaningful. And that's a big thing, is like knowing your value of what you do have to offer.
As we kind of go further into this, like understanding the value, how are you actually leveraging that?
When we were first starting, we honestly didn't value ourselves, and we were giving out deals on everything. We were trying to just get people in and get known. And then as we've kind of grown, we're like, okay, let's take a look at like our assets that we have. And our clientele was one of the biggest assets. We had it was a girl between 19 to 25-year-old was our demographic, which that's like every drink company's dream. And so after COVID, we started offering drinks. And I realized, I'm like, companies should be giving this to us for free. We buy premium beverages from different brands out there. And luckily, Portland has a lot of really cool local brands. And we started hitting them up, and, we were sharing with them like what we saw as value that we think would be valuable to them. So we said, hey, we'll make a drink menu. We'll put you on it. We have this 19 to 24-year-old girl who's trendy, cool, sitting in front of our chair for 1 to 3 hours, like that might drink your coffee or might drink your kombucha. I hit up a few brands that were like, no, but others were like, I'll give you a buy one, get one. And then others were like, yes, absolutely. Here's all of our drinks. Let me push you some others. And they still hit us up when they have new drinks that they roll out. So that's just like one example of like, once we knew our value, we could kind of leverage that and lower our costs while also giving kind of a first-class experience in the chair.
You mentioned like assets in your business and how to put like assets to use and like your clients being an asset. I think that's just like very valuable way of looking at what you're doing, and not just like the service that you provide, but like, yeah, the assets that you have there.
Any advertiser looks at screen time as they sell ads for how X amount of screen time. And for us, it's like mirror time almost. Like, so you're sitting in front of the mirror, and sure, we're not going to be like a company that just puts a bunch of ads on our mirror. I don't want to do that. But if it adds value, like the drinks, that was one. Or like our Instagram page, we know we have a good, strong core following of that key demographic that a lot of companies might value. And so we look to partner with them.
So what are the kind of brands you've been partnering with so far?
We're kind of not like a typical salon in the sense that we offer a product that's like hair clips and hats. And we wanted to come out with a tennis collection. So instead of just coming out with this arbitrary tennis club, we reached out to the longest standing Portland tennis club and asked them, hey, would you want to do like a collab with us? A lot of their members were already clients of ours. And I was like, hey, I think there's some, cross collaboration that we can kind of market both of our parties. And they weren't very strong on social media. So that was our asset to provide, that was to highlight them on social media where they're, more old school club. That was like our way of getting our foot in the door and putting a prestigious brand on our brand. And so I think that had a lot of value for our clients, and we brought a lot of value to their club members because we came out with cool merch.
As you enter into these partnerships, or when you look for partners, what are the things that you think are important?
Does the owner have the same vision of what you want things to be like? For us, our motto is to be the sunniest place in Portland. We want to create a community, a vibrant community that's like minded people who are travelers and go to events, and all women clientele. So we have a fun partnership coming up this summer with one of the biggest bars in Portland. It's a sports bar that plays only women's sports. It's called the Sports Bra. They had a big social media following, whereas we don't. But what we did have is we had really good retail and we had good product. And so I was like, hey, let's collab and see if we can come up with a product that both of our clients and your customers can get behind. And so we're coming out with Portland Sports Women's Sports. We have the Thorns here. That's a big women's soccer team that has sellout crowds. And then we also have a WNBA team coming to Portland. So we're kind of playing off that momentum and partnering with them and doing a launch party and trying to bring both customers together with two brands that are like-minded.
How do you approach a partner like that? Like, how does that conversation start?
Well, that's the tough part. Once you know your value, you know what you have to offer. So I just kind of go in and reach out blindly and tell them what I want to do. And sometimes it's just people laugh and they're like, yeah, no thanks. And other times, like this one, it's going to become a big deal.
Because everything that you do in a partnership needs to be a win-win. I think just a straight talk thing saves everyone time as well. Like, if there's not alignment and like what you want to do doesn't fully resonate, it's better to end the conversation there, right? Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that like for other hair salons that may be listening, they're like, well, we don't have product to offer to collab on, or like, we don't have a huge social media following. It's like, well, you have something. And so whatever that one thing is, like maybe you have a beautiful space and you start hosting events for people, or maybe you have a really cool coffee shop down the street and you want to like, partner with them on like a free coffee when a client checks out. I don't know. There's just so many things that you could come up with. It's just, you got to know what you have and know the value in it.
When you really like value yourself and you understand the value that you provide, you can promote others. And it kind of like elevates the position that you have, right? Because you're not just taking every opportunity to like sell and promote what you're doing, but you're showing like how you kind of caring about more things that are relevant for your clients and like highlighting those.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's like when you subscribe for a newsletter and the newsletter is just sending you deal, 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 deal. And you're like, oh, this is kind of boring. But if a newsletter is sending you like information like this podcast, that's kind of how we look at it. All of marketing is like, can we make it valuable and entertaining?
This podcast is probably like an example of something similar. Obviously, this is powered by Mangomint. The whole reason we're together here actually started with Mangomint. When did you start using Mangomint?
When we were starting up, one of the biggest pain points for booking a hair appointment was I had to create a customer account first, and it was so annoying, and I did not like that. And Mangomint just made it so simple and fast and easy, and it was a no-brainer. So I was like, this is what we're using, and all of our stylists love it because it's just like a beautiful design on the back end. And for the clients, it just was so quick and easy to book an appointment. And so that was another point of like, okay, let's just make things simple, easy, and add value to a client.
Would you like have any like key takeaways from what we just talked about that you want to pass along to the people seeing this?
Number one is just because you're a hair salon doesn't mean you can't be a brand. Secondly, I think valuing yourself and knowing what your assets are and what you have to offer, whether it's time in the chair with a client one-on-one, like that's extremely valuable. And when you understand that value and understand how important that is, that helps with building your brand. Three, I think the most important thing is if you want something, just say what you want.
So we do have a topic that I've asked Mack to hold for himself, because we're going to cover that in the next episode, but you don't want to miss that one. We touched on Mango Mint earlier today as well. We'll leave our special link on there so you get an extra month free if you decide to try out Mango Mint using that link. We look forward to seeing you inside of the next episode.